Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA.
Where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA giggly way. And in case you have forgotten what AFA is, we're here to remind you every single day. And the reason why is because Mark wrote a book about it. Powerful stuff, transformational. Really, I've read a lot of stuff. I've been around the block, as they say. And I've done, well, this just brings it all together. It just ties it all together. And what a really cool thing to hear. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I get excited, waking up and knowing that I'm going to look at you in the face every day and you're going to tell me how absolutely fucking amazing I am.
And that's
exactly as I am.
Damn truth. And it's a truth for everybody. That's what the book's about. You are absolutely amazing exactly as you are. Everybody thinks that, if I make this amount of money, or if I live in this house or this place, or I get this degree, or I get this job, that's when life is going to take off because I'll feel so good about myself. And, the fact of the matter is you can obtain all of those things. You may have all those achievements and still it's not going to be enough because you don't really love yourself. That's the bottom line. And you need to explore that. So there are ways and things that you can do to really, really, really get to that heart of the matter. And you know what? It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple once you really understand how you end up being the way you're being, because right now, whoever you think you are, it isn't really the real you. No, it's not. When you have access to the real you, oh my God, life takes off.
But here's the thing too.
Go ahead.
But I like this too. So just how I like to look at it, okay, is all the layers of clothes that you put on. Okay. Yep. So it's not, it may be a little part of you. You may identify with it. There may be energy around it, but at the core, all these clothes, right? All of this. Isn't me, isn't the real me. It's a energy or a thought packet
even these cells, this whole makeup, this isn't really you. Right, it's the shell that you're wearing. It's the tool that you're experiencing this world with, but it's not the real you. The real you is way beneath that. So just peeling back those layers, getting rid of all of those filters that get put on that give us our worldview and our frame of reference in the world and, what we think. And oh my gosh, it's so liberating once you get to the point where you realize just really what it really means to be a human being. And you know what? You're absolutely amazing, Sherry. And good morning, everybody. You guys are absolutely amazing, exactly as you are. Don't listen to anybody else's opinion about who you should be or what you should be, because you are just absolutely amazing as you are right now at this moment in time. Nothing needs to change.
Nothing needs to change. And so that's the other reason why we're here is we want to change the dialogue around what it means to feel good and be high. H for hope. I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. And it's okay to feel good. And so we want to.
It's okay to get high. We want you to be high.
We want you to be high on love.
Why would you not want to have a euphoric life? Seriously.
Right.
If it's not fun, I don't know if I want to do it. And I'm not talking about, a nasty job that needs to be done. Anything can be made fun because it's all about your attitude. If it's not fun, then I got to check myself. I got to say, what's going on with me? Why am I bitching and complaining about this thing that I need to do? Because when you look at it in the perspective of, well, it could always be worse, and it can always be worse. Life just is. So how do you have a happy life? Change your meaning, change your opinion about it. Yeah. And that's what we're here today talking about.
Yes.
Sherry?
Love.
Do you have any quotes and readings today? I have a one that is just dynamite with the daily love. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just do the angel one from today.
Yeah.
So I was
I'm
looking
sure
at,
it's going to tie into what we're going to talk about. Good morning, Denise.
so
Beth,
yes,
Brian,
really.
Jack.
Oh,
Okay.
hello. Good morning. Good
Good
morning. Good
morning.
morning. So I
Yeah.
got some angel messages this morning, right?
Oh, tell us what the angels are
The angel.
saying.
So here it is. Has to do with the positivity, the thoughts. So admire everyone's beauty freely and drink in the perfume of spirit that is all around you, right? So here it is, this spirit breath. Inhale,
Yeah.
Ananda. What do we do when we inhale? We breathe
inspire.
in the spirit of the plant and we become inspired, right?
Yes.
Really good one. So the angels are telling us, and to admire, give gratitude for what you have and for what you see in others, right? That's that positivity.
Gratitude is one of those tools that you can use to actually get to that loving space, the loving of yourself, because there's always something to be grateful for.
Yes.
Although
and gratitude,
you may feel from time to time, especially if you have things like depression and mood disorder, which I've always struggled with, from time to time, you may find it really difficult to find something in your life to be grateful for. But if you sit for a moment and just let those thoughts dissipate, you will find something that you are truly grateful for.
Yes. So here it is too. I love this. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the door to all that is good in our life. So, right. So think about if we can be grateful. I'm grateful to have this moment with you right now, Nurse Mark, and all of the people out there watching us, right? Because here it is I'm grateful for that. So guess what? It inspires me. And then it also, you're putting out that vibration for people that want to come and join and listen and be part of the community and to help. What are we all trying to do here? Walk each other home, improve. In our lives. So anyways, gratitude is the key that unlocks the door to all that is good in my life. So I remember the simplest things.
Now, let me ask you a question, Sherry. What if you're already home? What if you never left home? You've always been there and you'll always be there. Oh, we can talk about that another day.
Ooh, that's good, Mark. Oh, you just stimulated a dendrite.
I know. All right, here we go, folks. Daily love. Good morning, Carrie Lee.
Good morning. Good morning.
In the great state of Iowa.
Okay, Iowa, Green Nurse,
Iowa. This is a long daily love. Hold on. This is really going to be, you got to really pay attention to this one because it's super important. There's a lot here. It's a lot to take in. Okay. Ready?
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Here we go. It's from You Are What You Think by Dr. Wayne Dyer. You ready? Here we go. Yes. Now pay attention because there's a lot here. You can't get hold of the wind. It's the same with thought. What are you waiting for more? Do you know how much is in that? That's the key right there.
Wind is like thought.
Yes, you can't get hold of the wind. It's the same with thought. So here's the thing.
Can you grab wind?
You can't control your thoughts. Your thoughts just are what they are. They are manifestations of all sorts of activity, neural activity in your brain. Patterns get wired in there. And so you'll be in a situation where you'll take in stimuli from the outside world, auditory, whatever, visual, and it'll light these circuits in your brain and you'll think things. You have no control over that. Let me tell you, it happens automatically. So how do you control your thoughts, right? Because you say, well, I can control my thoughts. Not really. You just think shit. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you a request right now. Sherry, yes. Everybody out there, don't think of a pink elephant.
That's the first thing. It's where you go.
Everybody immediately thought of a pink elephant because you can't not do it. Listen, it's just the way we're wired. So how do you actually work with your thoughts? Because right?
Here it is. Here's
positivity. Go ahead, Jared.
Here's a really good analogy. So when you start to have thoughts, and you become aware that you're thinking these thoughts, Now you can start thinking about wind blowing in your head.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you have, just think about,
what was the key right there? Here's the key, and you just said it.
Thought. Think about wind.
You had awareness of your thoughts. Right. Awareness is the tool in which you can change your thought patterns. That's how you control your thoughts. That's how you move your thoughts from one area to another. Dandapani, my good friend, the Hindu priest, his guru said, where awareness goes, energy flows.
There you go.
Where you are focusing your awareness is where your energy is going to flow. So if you are having negative thoughts about a particular subject and you become aware of that, you can change your awareness to a positive thought. And that you're not controlling the thought, you're controlling the awareness, and where the awareness goes, the energy flows, and you move it to positivity. So that's the tool.
So here's a cool reminder. Okay, so here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
So here we need to all become airheads. Right. So say you have stuck wind going in your head, right? So think about all these thoughts. The tornado, it's all wind, right? Swirling around. Right. So what do we need to do? We need to open up the windows and let the air move out. Stale air out, new air in. How do we do that? We do that many different ways. Breath work. Inhale cannabinoids, right? That's what it does. Is it helps to move that old, sterile, icky energy out in the form of wind. So let's move, right? And it's all about movement, Mark, right? Movement of thoughts. I get excited talking about this.
Isn't that exciting? I do too. I could talk about this forever and ever and ever. These are my favorite conversations. And I'm so glad that, people are popping up on the stream here and chiming in. Ashley, good morning. Kristen, awareness is the key. That's the tool. That's how you create a life that you want, because you're aware of what's going on. And the only way you can change your life is to change what's going on in here. Because what's out there is just what is. It's your relationship to the what is that is your life. Oh,
really good stuff. Wow.
All right.
Exciting.
We're on a hug and a nug today, baby. We are on Terpene Tuesday. Woo! And you may hear some noise. You may hear some noise now and again. That's just my moving company who's packing my car, which is actually my wife. She's just the best wife.
Oh, gosh. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah.
Mrs. Rollins.
She is hell-bent on getting going. And
they are coming to the farm. Coming down
to the farm.
So we'll carry on.
Yeah, she doesn't drive well in the dark. I agree. We don't want to be driving in the dark. So our first stop's Raleigh, North Carolina. We got to get on the road.
You're gonna get on the road, and Mark, I just want to say, thank you so much. You're moving back, and you're taking your time out to come here and to be with me to educate everyone out there. I just love it. He's committed and dedicated, and
this is life, baby. This is what we do.
This is what we do. Exactly.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So
let's
today, so we usually do Terpene Tuesday, but we've been kind of ignoring a lot of the other cannabinoids, and I kind of wanted to get back into, because it's not just Terpene Tuesday, but it's Tidbit Tuesday with hugs and nugs. So we're going to get into the cannabinoids that are found in nugs and what is a cannabinoid. How does it work? And then we're going to talk about one particular one. We're going to talk about CBDA. So, Mark, what is a cannabinoid?
Oh, it is a magical chemical construction that just is so powerful medicinally. Here we go. It's any chemical compound that acts on cannabinoid receptors, CB1 and CB2, which includes endogenous cannabinoids. And what's endogenous? That means internally created. So there are cannabinoids that we create as animals, as mammals. We create these cannabinoids and they click into those receptors and bind to them. Then we have phytocannabinoids, and phytocannabinoids are just that. They're from the plant. They're from the cannabis plant. And then we have synthetic cannabinoids. And you know what? Pharmaceutical companies make these cannabinoids. It's, they're made in the lab. We're very good at chemistry, so we can mimic a lot of things. And so they make a chemical that has that chemical structure of a cannabinoid that will click into that receptor. So we'll talk a little bit more of it. So the life cycle of a phytocannabinoid molecule, or the synthesis of cannabinoids, is triggered by a variety of environmental influences, like the UV light. How much light is that plant getting? And, in the scientific part of the growing process, it's not about the amount of light, it's the amount of darkness at the end of the growth cycle that puts this plant into the flowering phase. But we'll talk about that on a growth thing, right? But understand that UV light, oxygen exposure, time, and temperature all can change the chemical cannabinoid makeup of a particular variety.
Yep. And so we've been going through a lot of the different cannabinoids and during their life cycle, and wanting to give you all the medicinal therapeutic potential and the research and information that's surrounding those different cannabinoids. So we all know that THC and CBD are the big ones, but we've been just starting to discuss some of the other ones. So over the past couple of weeks, we talked about CBGA, right, which is the acidic form of CBG. Last week was CBG. And then today we're going to talk about CBDA, right? Cannabidiolic acid, CBDA. So this was actually and so CBDA is the precursor, the mama to CBD. Right? So we look at.
So it really is. So these cannabinoids are in acidic form, meaning they have a particular chemical construct that makes them an acid. I mean, it's basic chemistry. You have base and acids, and they're in their acidic form. And then, Sherry, as you're talking about, they are converted chemically by temperature, time, all these other factors into
CBD. So, for example, it can happen naturally, right? It can go through this curation process and happen naturally. But then the other thing too is you can actually speed it along. So when they do take the plant and harvest it and you cure it, you can then speed it along even further by decarboxylating it with heat, with these various little contraptions, machines, or even in the oven. So the properties of CBDA are very similar to CBD, but just a little bit more potent. Think raw plant. Just think of when you pick a tomato out of the ground, right? So you've got that raw tomato. And then what if you turn it into sauce, right? So you're changing the form and the constituents. So this is a really potent anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It has been shown to inhibit breast cell cancer, breast cancer cell proliferation, and an anti-nausea, really potent anti-nausea.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. So what about studies, Mark?
Well, holy cow. We have 26 studies in Cannakeys. So there were 6 in the lab, 7 animal, and 1 meta-analysis. And again, that's a really stringent process of looking at all of the research that is currently out there and some that haven't been studied. Haven't been published, right? So there were some top studies by organ system. Of course, the nervous system. We always look at cannabinoids in regard to the nervous system. The digestive system, which is huge. In regard to cannabinoids, the immune system, respiratory, reproductive, and the mental and emotional. What were some of the top conditions that were studied, Cher?
Okay, I'm not surprised, but nausea and vomiting, breast cancer, allergic dermatitis, prostate cancer, colon cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and actually, too, they were doing a lot of veterinary applications and studies.
Yeah. So CBDA in regard to nausea really has a lot to do with serotonin. So, I think we've mentioned it many times, almost 80% of your serotonin, or a very high percentage, is actually created in your gut. So serotonin and nausea being related isn't surprising if that's where most of your serotonin is being created. So serotonin signaling regulates mood, but is also involved in other physiological functions such as nausea and vomiting and intestinal movements. Tell us about those Canadian scientists, Cher.
Okay, so the Canadian scientists at the University of Ontario examined the therapeutic action with both CBD and CBDA on serotonin signaling for different types of nausea and vomiting. So they found that CBDA suppresses nausea and vomiting caused by toxins, motion sickness, and anticipatory nausea and vomiting. So, excuse me. So you think about toxins as like a bacteria that you may have taken in. Everyone knows what motion sickness is. And then the anticipatory nausea and vomiting often has to do with patients that are getting chemotherapy. They don't know what causes it, but there's no treatment for it. So when they're on the days of chemotherapy, before it even starts, they start to have that anticipatory nausea and even dry heaves.
Oh, yeah.
So the result of the study, which was really, really fascinating, which I was like blown away, is that the amount of the CBDA needed to reduce the nausea was 100 times less than the required CBD to have the same effect. Did I see that right? Was it no, 1,000. Sorry. Oh my God, I missed a zero. Yeah, it says 1,000.
Yeah, 1,000.
So here it is.
So that's not surprising, Cherry, because we know that the acidic forms have, in some cases, very different properties than the end result, the decarboxylated molecule. So like THCA, for example, is a 10 times more potent anti-inflammatory than THC. 10 times, right? So huge fan of juicing raw cannabis.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
So I found that really cool. So just to kind of review quickly. So the anticipatory nausea, this is key. And this has a lot, patients that are going through chemotherapy, radiation, cancer treatments, then nausea is really bad. It can cause the muscle wasting, really can affect quality of life. So again, this is the intense type of nausea that people experience before chemotherapy. They feel really horrible even before it begins. And so, like I said, there is no effective pharmaceutical treatment for it. So in a particular different study, they examined the efficacy combining CBDA with Zofran. So Zofran is a drug that's often used with for chemotherapy. It's often used for women that are pregnant, that hyperemesis. So the combining of the CBDA and the Zofran, right? They found that even at a very, very low dose, CBDA enhanced Zofran's anti-nausea effect. So that's just another really cool thing of showing how combining, how cannabinoids can bridge the gap from what we're not getting from traditional medicine, and
they can actually potentiate, enhance the effects of the pharmaceutical medications.
Yeah. So I really like that. And the other thing too is, when you're thinking about all the other cannabinoids, and we talked about raw plant, CBDA is non-impairing, and it may be a better option for patients who do struggle with some of the mood-altering effects of THC-rich cannabis. Yeah.
Now, here's one, CBDA and epilepsy. So GW Pharma, which is actually a really successful pharmaceutical company from the UK, who's very, very involved in the cannabis medicine world. They are the manufacturers of Epidiolex, which is the first FDA approved cannabis medicine for epilepsy in children with specific epileptic syndromes. And so GW Pharma is actually looking at CBDA's therapeutic potential. And so in their pharmacokinetic studies, they're comparing CBDA with CBD. They found that CBDA has superior bioavailability and faster onset than CBD. So those properties could make CBDA a very attractive option for drug development. Not only did it require lower doses, which is always going to reduce the chance of side effects, but CBDA was more effective in seizure reduction in certain parameters. So some of the data appears on GW's patent application.
Wow, that's so promising,
Isn't it?
For so many different people.
Oh,
exactly, because there's something for everyone here in the cannabis space when it comes to health and wellness and disease.
Yeah.
And that's what's great. So these types of studies are powerful. So I'm excited for this as well. So continuing on, CBDA as a potent anti-inflammatory.
Oh yeah.
So think about this. So when we're thinking about traditional non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as aspirin, ibuprofen.
Yep.
We have these specific things called COX-1 and COX-2.
Yep.
And these have to do with inflammation.
It's
right?
they're part of the inflammatory process, right? They're enzymes that are part of the inflammatory process. And so, you know, anytime a pharmaceutical company creates a drug, they're looking at disrupting a certain part of a chain of events. Right. And we know, Sherry, as you say, the ECS is just an on-off switch, and it says, do this, don't do this. Part of that inflammatory process, or COX-1 and COX-2 enzymes, are in that rotation. So traditionally, aspirin and ibuprofen, you know, will break that chain in the COX-1, COX-2. But what's the problem?
The problem is that, so if it's affecting that, it can decrease. It can affect the stomach. It can affect the intestines. It can actually cause a breakdown in the gut.
Right. Because they're not there by accident. Our body needs them in some cases, because that's part of how we act as a biochemical machine. And COX-1 maintains the normal lining of the stomach and intestines. So when you disrupt that COX-1, you're gonna disrupt what's going on in your stomach and the GI. So typically, what are the things we see? Like GI bleeds, right?
Right.
Will be a side effect of long-term use of these things. So
GERD, right? Gastroesophageal reflux disease. So you have, you take these anti-inflammatories, and then later on, you're developing gastritis, GERD, ulcers,
Yeah. So the cool thing is, Sherry, is Sherry does such a great job doing the research. I mean, she does all this research and puts this together. It's fucking amazing, isn't it? I mean, she is so detailed.
But I'm going to tell you what's really great about all this is that because you make the research seem just a little bit easier. I'm the storyteller. You're well, there's a lot of research can sometimes be difficult to communicate.
Oh, I dig research, baby. That's my thing. I love talking research and digging into it.
But here's the thing too. So it's definitely, it takes, I enjoy it too, but it's definitely a learned skill to learn how to read. And it takes time and patience, but then once you do get it, it can be fun. So for me, being able to communicate it, right? So communicate it. And you helping me communicate it. You're good, Mark.
We're a team here. We're the green nurses. So the cool thing is, Sherry, getting back to that COX-2, which is pro-inflammatory, that's the one that really want to target. CBDA is a COX-2 inhibitor. It'll decrease the inflammation without affecting the gut, like some other NSAIDs do. So CBDA shows a potential to be safer than the NSAIDs, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Although, as usual, we need more studies on human beings.
So everyone thinks CBDA, potent, non-potent anti-inflammatory, very potent.
Not an NSAID.
Not an NSAID. So then now we're gonna continue on with that whole COX-2, right? And then the anti-cancer connection. So one of the studies also found that CBDA's down regulation, decreasing the COX-2 enzymes, may help prevent the spread of certain type of invasive breast cancer, that's typified by a higher than normal levels of COX-2. So if you have these elevated enzymes, and so if they're able to control those, down regulate, prevent them from, continuing to go, it's going to prevent the spread. Proliferate, anti-proliferative.
And again, we're so early on in the study, but it's so encouraging to see that there is huge potential in cannabinoid medicine to help alleviate some of the issues with cancer, right?
Oh my God. Absolutely. Coming at it from multiple different angles. I like,
again,
it's
supportive.
Amazing. Supportive on multiple different ways.
other, mainstream therapies for this kind of thing. Now, here's some fun stuff. Okay. There's a synthetic CBDA compound. Professor Mushalem, who turned 90 last year, Raphael Mushalem. He's an amazing, he should have the Peace Prize. I'm not Nobel Peace Prize, but Nobel Prize in Science. He absolutely, I would say he's He is the godfather of cannabis research. He's generated headlines once again with the launch of a patented synthetic CBDA methyl ester. Now, the problem with the acidic forms of these cannabinoids is that they're very volatile. In other words, chemically, they're not very stable, and they're easily dissipated. They're easily altered. So it's hard to keep them as their acidic form. And so Doctor has figured out a way to create a synthetic CBDA. It's subtly altered to make it more stable than CBDA.
Right. So the synthetic, so it's like, so just for example, just so people, you know, so you have THC from the cannabis plant, right? Marinol is synthetic THC. So very, very similar, having CBDA and then converting it in such a way so it's completely 100% CBDA and it's stable. It's not going to change.
It's in a stabilized version. Yeah.
Not going to keep converting.
And I know he's been working on that several years. He talked about it at one of the conferences that I had gone to probably 3 years ago. He was talking about how the issue was, especially in studying these acidic forms, is that they're so volatile that it's hard to study them because they alter and they change so very quickly. Being able to convert them to methyl ester is really, really helpful in the research phase of things too. So what are they going to use it for?
Well, they're going to use it to treat conditions such as anxiety, depression, inflammatory bowel disease, nausea and vomiting, and as an alternative to steroids. That's huge.
Oh yeah.
Steroids can do so much damage.
Oh, they really can. I mean, they're potent tools in the toolkit.
They're potent tools.
But they have to be used sparingly. I'm sure, you know, most of us have been on it at some point in our lives. They are a super anti-inflammatory, but they come with their whole host of other issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing to note too, when we're talking about CBDA, because there are products, cannabinoid products that are on the market. They do have, you know, include these acidic forms of cannabinoids. So same thing with THCA. So THCA is non-impairing, but once it starts to convert into THC, that's when it can activate the CB1 receptors in the brain a little bit, you know, more. So basically when stored appropriately in a dark, cool cupboard away from sunlight, or even in the refrigerator in hot climates, CBDA does not tend to degrade. And if it's consumed,
but if it does, Sherry, what's it going to do?
It's just going to be CBD.
It's going to be CBD.
It's not wrecked.
But if you're being specific and you want to have those medicinal properties of CBDA, the acidic form, then you really do need to keep it in the dark. You really do. And you need to use it within a few months. Or like we talked about, time, light, these things change that acidic form. So you really need to just use it. Exciting time.
It is really exciting times. This has been such a great hug and nug of information, cannabinoids, and talking all about the wind. We're all going to breathe and let the wind circulate good, different thoughts into our mind. Right. So that's it. Let it flow. Let it flow. Let the wind flow. Right. Don't try to grab that wind. Just let it go. Flow and go. So so basically, Mark, I just want to, being Nurses Week. Well, I could look at it at Nurses Day was last week. Nurses Week is this week. Nurses Month, Nursing Year. It's still the year of the nurse.
Still the year of the nurse.
So I want to give a big shout out to the Cannabis Nurses Network.
Oh, Heather Manis at CNN.
Yeah, they're doing some great things. They have a go check out their page. They have a couple of events that are coming up. And I want to give a big shout out for thanking them for getting me onto Clubhouse. So I'm going to put, we're really excited. Mark's been on Clubhouse. It's just another platform for education.
Some great conversations going on there.
Yeah. So that's going to be great. So thank you, Cannabis Nurses Network. Really appreciative. And what else do we've got going on, Mark?
Well, we got a lot going on. We'll be here again, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, and tomorrow evening, we're going to have Abby Peck, right?
Yes, great
Abby Peck's going to be on the show, and that you need to hear her story. She has a story that is going to really make you angry at what's going on today still in the world of cannabis as a medicine, and really being discrimination and stigmatized. So yeah, tune in then. But that's what we got going on, Sherry.
Yes, we do. Okay, so a couple other things to wrap it up is we have our Frequency Friday every Friday. Energy healing with the Healy and the Green Nurses. Then our mastermind group starts up again on Monday, May 17th. So mastermind group. And there is in the events, you can see the information and how to sign up. And then what else do we have going on? Oh, and then our event, we just posted the event up in the farm. So we're going to have an amazing, so here it is activate your endocannabinoid system with the Green Nurses.
We're going to activate it. All right.
We're going to activate it.
Yeah, we are. June 12th, folks. June 12th. Outdoors on the farm. It ain't going to get any better than that.
No, it's not. It's going to be great. So you can see all the details in the event that we have posted.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, Nurse Mark, but I'm going to have an AFA day.
I know you are having an AFA day already. And remember, it's awareness. It's awareness of those thoughts. So whatever you have to do it. That's the tool. Sherry, I love you. I love all of you folks who stopped by. Thank you so much for being here and being part of the community and chiming in and really moving us forward in the world of cannabis as a medicine. Sherry, what is it really all about, though?
Oh, Nurse Mark, thank you for asking. It is about living your best life and helping others do the same.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.